This morning I tweeted like I've been becoming more and more of a numbers guy, but like I've just been making way more data-driven decisions, both for me but also on behalf of clients. No decisions in business should be off of a feeling. I think accountability is huge too for this. It's like I used to do this too, where I had a client who didn't work out and I wanted to do everything I could to blame the client, but in reality it's like, how can I improve my process here, whether it's sales for the tire kickers or it's marketing to convert people, or it's retaining and doing something along the relationship to retain them. Like, you always want to blame the client. Like, you want to say they're a tire kicker, but why didn't you just have more touch points? Why didn't you have a better offer? You know what I mean? Why aren't you customizing for the offer for that person, right? Why didn't you reach out to them? Why didn't you call them if you have their number, right? It's like, if someone signed up for your emails, why didn't you call them? Why didn't you? There's so many little things that you can implement in every process of your business that help. You just have to, it all starts with taking accountability and realizing that nothing is the client's fault. It's always your fault. Yes. And then you go and improve every little thing of your business, and you treat every lead, every conversation, every sale, every content, every churn, everything is a lesson. If you cannot treat that as a lesson and make a 1% improvement somewhere, then it is just a fail and a loss. Because if you
That's right.
But if you improve 1% on every little piece, then your business will just get infinitely better. And as long as you stay alive, it's an infinite game. It's a war of attrition. You just outlast your opponents. You will reach the top.
I'm going to ask Marcos a question that I want you, the listener, to ask yourself as I walk through this. And then you ask me that question. But Marcos, what is one thing, person listening, what is one thing you are not taking as much accountability from as you should, that you know you should improve?
I think for me is I don't take accountability with doing marketing or content or anything that has to do with marketing. I used to. I think I often put it towards like, oh, I have enough inbound, or oh, it's the time zones like Bali, or oh, I don't know what to talk about. Like, I always make some sort of excuse, but in reality it's like I could just do it. I could just do it. You actually said something to me once that like resonated, and it wasn't related to this, but I remember I told you, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to do jujitsu, but I didn't do it. You were like, if you wanted to do jujitsu, you would already have done it. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
You need to be told how it is.
I was in Miami with Lobo, and I've been training jiu-jitsu for like 1 month or so, but then I quit because not a fan of having people's ass on my face sometimes, but I get back to it. And what happened there was I told Lobo, yeah, I tried jiu-jitsu. I didn't really like it. It wasn't my thing. It's like, oh, well, how long did you do it for? I'm like, I went to like a month worth of classes. He's just like, son, that's not trying. Do it for 6 months. That's trying. So I feel like people's definition of trying isn't actually try. It's just, it's the equivalent of when you break something as a kid and you want to put it and fix it just enough so that when the next person uses it, it'll break. That's the equivalent of it. It's like you're not taking accountability.
Yeah, it's the same thing with business too. And I actually talked about this in my YouTube video that just came out, where I was like sticking to one business idea for long enough, and basically you need to change the definition of trying, right? Like for me, it was like I started an e-com store. I started an agency, and I tried it for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and it like didn't work out, and then I just moved on. But if I had the definition of try be like 3 months or 6 months, I guarantee you I would have succeeded with one of them way earlier. But my definition of try was like putting in like 3 or 4 weeks, creating a logo, creating a website, sending like 4 cold emails, and then being like, yeah, it didn't work. Next.
Yeah. Same thing with offers, bro. It's like, this is why people stay for 3 months crafting their damn offer. It's that, oh, I sent it out, didn't work. Well, like when you say send it out, that's a lot of nuance. What did you do? Did you actually try to validate it? Like how did you try to validate it? Was it 1 DM? Was it 1,000 DMs? Was it 1 post? Was it 10 posts? Yeah. People don't try enough. Like percentages sent, that has to be 100 of something for you to be like, okay, I have enough data, enough to even make a guess if this works or not. You have to try things.
Data is huge. I just tweeted out this morning. I tweeted like I've been becoming more and more of a numbers guy. Ryan actually replied to it. He's like, welcome to the dark side.
Of course he did.
But like I've just been making way more data-driven decisions, both for me but also on behalf of clients. It's just like no decisions in business should be off of a feeling. Like there's really no decisions that need to be made off of feeling. There's numbers for everything. If you dig deep enough, there's numbers everywhere. Sales, marketing, retention, fulfillment, sales, I already said sales twice, double the sales. But like there's numbers everywhere. Like you'll know where to improve if you just look at the numbers. You're like, that number, like I look at my numbers and I'm like, oh, my close rate's 17%. That's shit. What should I do today? Probably improve my script. And then if I improve my script and it doesn't get better, okay, what do I need to improve? Maybe my lead quality. How do I improve my lead quality? Perhaps my content or my channel. Go do that. Or my targeting on my ads. Go do that. Right? Like you can just look at the data and be like, what do I improve today? It's so easy. Just like sit down and look at it.
Exactly. No, I like that. I like that. Yeah, like, and I'm not the numbers guy. Like, I don't find it fun. But you know what's the real like interesting part about that? Yeah, it's like I'm suffering right now. Thanks. But the little like nuance to that, it's we're in creative marketing professions. So sometimes the actual move that makes sense numerically is not doing anything. It's resting. It's going out for a walk. It's chilling, working out. Because then you know that increases the chances of you coming back and writing something fire on the page. You know, so it's a weird thing, man. Because like day trading, you have to be there, right? It's like you have to be there. But it's almost like in our profession, it's the less you work, the better you work. It's kind of this weird mix.
This is interesting. I don't know if you're a Marvel guy, but in Marvel they have what's called the sacred timeline, right? And the sacred timeline, if you think about that as your business and where this is where you're starting and this is where you're supposed to go, right? This is your $1 million business or your $100 million business. You have the sacred timeline, which is just to the goal. But in Marvel, they have what's called the TPA, and there's all these branch timelines. And I think of those as like business problems. It's like, we're good. Okay, my close rate's down. And what they do in the show in Loki, they go and they prune the timeline and they basically get rid of it. So every time it branches out, they just fucking kill it. So it's like if you have your business and you're going and you have normal, everything's good. All right, now my close rate just dipped. Boom, hit that number. What can I fix? Okay, close rate's back to 30%. Prune. Next. Oh, my content, I have no leads. Branch timeline up. How can I fix that? Probably make better fucking content. Boom, prune it. Next. And you can just keep going. You just look at the numbers. And it's almost like having like, you ever just see like the back cave where it has all the computers? It's like you just look at it and you're like, what's wrong with my business today? You can just kind of do that. And just like, you can do that at any level too. If you're at $0 a month or you're at $1 million a month, you just look at the numbers. If you
100%.
You know what I mean? If you have no clients this month, what do you need to do? You probably need more book calls. And then you just go into the numbers. How many leads do I have? How many DMs did I send? Right? How many follow-ups did I send? What's my show rate? Like you can literally just get the numbers for anything. It's so good.
Another one about that is you could tweak the numbers that you feel like tweaking. This is why I personally don't believe in content days. Like the only scheduled content I really have is this part. But content days are just like whenever I'm feeling like it. Because sometimes I'll wake up and I just don't feel creative. But it's like, yeah, I'll do a Zapier integration. You know, I'll do something for the landing page or whatever. This is why like you see everything that's wrong. You're like, okay, what do I fix today? But you could also be like, what do I feel like fixing today? And then I don't feel guilty if, Tuesday is recording content day. Maybe if I don't, that's fine.
Yeah. And if you're like, man, I just never have a content day, hire the Birdhouse. Every day's a content day at the Birdhouse. Keep that in.
Quinn, which client do you like more, Quinn? Which one are you going? There you go. This is the dilemma. Are you gonna keep this shit in? Because, like MJ said, I took that personally. No, it's all good. We're all about promoting our shit in this pod. I respect that.
This pod, I feel like the great thing about this pod is like we're always just like talking about anything. And then we always relate it back. We always relate it back to our actual businesses because that's what we can actually, it's the only thing we're experts on. I don't know shit about shit and neither do you, except our businesses. You know what I mean? So if we could talk about fucking Elon Musk and then just dial it back to like the Birdhouse or like saying cash, it's like, bang. It's, you know what I mean? I never want to, I know you're the same ways. I never want to talk about shit I don't know anything about. So it's like,
that's weird.
How can I relate something I do know, or like something I read or something I have experienced back to the point, which is our businesses. So that's it's pretty cool. Which reminds me, I wrote on I started creating this pod thread for this podcast because if you don't know, we're recording back to back. I was listening to Genghis Khan's story, and absurd story. Naturally, I'm the man. Babe, I just want coffee.
I wonder what would happen if he taught his sons better to keep his empire. Would I be Mongol? Would you be Mongol?
Babe, can we go and get dinner now? Like, but anyways,
Can we have sex now? Can you stop talking about Genghis fucking Khan?
stop
Sex.
talking about Napoleon. Anyway, I was listening to the Genghis Khan story, and I think he invented. I would have to go see. It probably existed before, but he was one of the first people that did incentives in business.